America's March Madness, from Frosty fusions to economic turmoil and lunar landings. Welcome, everyone. Get ready for a wild ride through today's most unexpected and outrageous news stories. From political shakeups to dessert innovations and even a little lunar adventure, we've got it all. Sit back, relax, and let's dive into the chaos of the day. President Trump dismantles Department of Education, because who needs education anyway? In a stunning show of efficiency, President Trump has moved forward with his executive order to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education, the agency responsible for, well, educating the public. Trump argues that the federal government is just holding back the great American education system, and that states should be the ones deciding whether kids are taught critical thinking or how to make a TikTok dance video. His plan would transfer control of education to the states, which, let's face it, could use a refresher on things like math, science, and, let's be honest, basic civics. The idea of leaving individual states to handle the nation's education system is like asking a toddler to organize the living room. Sure, they're enthusiastic, but the outcome might not be what you hoped for. Critics warn that this could lead to even worse education disparities, especially for underserved communities. But Trump's team is confident that every student can learn via personal responsibility and innovative solutions, aka tech startup apps for teaching algebra. Economic outlook. The only thing more uncertain than my future is the stock market. As President Trump continues his relentless trade wars, the economy is wobbling like a high schooler on their first day of driving lessons. The stock market? It's as stable as a roller coaster during an earthquake. In the latest twist of his economic genius strategy, Trump has slapped 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico, Canada, and China, because who doesn't love paying extra for a pair of sneakers? The new tariffs are supposedly a way to bring jobs back to America, but for now, all it's bringing are higher prices for American consumers. Meanwhile, businesses are trying to figure out how they can keep their costs low without relying on international suppliers. Because who needs trade relationships when you can just make stuff yourself? Experts are holding their breath, watching the stock market do its best impersonation of a cat on a hot tin roof. Some believe the tariffs will cause a ripple effect, sending consumer prices sky high. But hey, it's all part of the Make America Pay More plan. At least we'll all be in this together, broke, but united. Hold on to your spoons, America, because Wendy's is shaking up the dessert world with Frosty swirls and Frosty fusions. Forget about that sad, lonely Frosty you've been ordering for years. Now you can swirl in a variety of toppings and sauces, turning your humble dessert into a sad excuse for an art project. Choose from chocolate fudge, caramel, or strawberry sauce, and let your creativity soar, or at least be distracted for a few minutes. But that's not all. Wendy's is also introducing Frosty Fusions, which allows you to dump cookies, candy, and whatever else you can cram into a blender into your Frosty. Because who doesn't want to eat dessert that feels like a food challenge? This new launch comes with Wendy's grand plan to open 1,000 new locations by 2028, because who doesn't need more places to get slightly better desserts than McDonald's? And let's not forget about the AI-powered drive-thru system that will no doubt speed up your order process and also maybe judge you quietly for getting a large. If only they could invent an AI system that tells you to not eat that Frosty. But that's a conversation for another time. The U.S. women's national team, USWNT, has once again held on to its top FIFA ranking, clinging to that number one spot like a cat to a scratching post. Their dominance in women's soccer continues despite a minor setback, read embarrassing loss, to Japan in the She Believes Cup. But not to worry, the USWNT quickly reminded the world that they are, in fact, the best at kicking balls, beating Colombia and Australia with an air of, we're still the queens here, no big deal. The team's next stop? Friendly matches against Brazil and China, because apparently the only thing that makes you feel better after a loss is beating up on other countries that also play soccer. Critics claim that the competition is getting tougher, looking at you, Spain and England, but the USWNT is confident that they'll keep their throne, mostly by kicking more balls into the net and occasionally making history. However, don't be surprised if the team starts demanding better contracts, because if they're going to be the best, they should probably get paid like it too. President Trump seems to be channeling his inner Nixon, and it's all happening in real time. Forget about traditional foreign diplomacy. Trump is taking a page right out of Nixon's playbook and deciding that isolationism and mistrust of the Washington elite are the way forward. Why deal with international allies when you can just pull the U.S. out of every conflict and tweet about it? Trump's plan for global peace appears to be one based on peace through passive-aggressive social media posts and non-involvement. His recent moves, such as cozying up to Russia while telling NATO to take a hike, have drawn more than a few parallels to Nixon's strategy during the Cold War. However, instead of facing the Watergate scandal, Trump might find himself in the middle of a Tradegate scandal, especially as foreign markets react poorly to his tariffs. Who knew history would repeat itself in such spectacularly confusing ways? The southern U.S. has been hit by a massive storm, which, like everything in 2025, has exceeded expectations for chaos. At least 4 tornadoes have already touched down, along with flash floods, hail, and high winds that make the entire region resemble a National Geographic disaster special. In Texas alone, over 400,000 homes have lost power, and locals are now learning to live without Wi-Fi and TikTok. This is more than just a storm. It's nature's way of reminding us that we're all just one bad thunderstorm away from canceling all outdoor plans for the next week. Officials are scrambling to manage the disaster, but they too are struggling to figure out how to respond to the next catastrophic event. Meanwhile, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, is facing budget cuts, so they're just like, well, hope you packed an umbrella. It's the kind of storm that makes you long for the days when the biggest weather concern was a few snowflakes in the forecast. The U.S. trade wars continue to rage on, with President Trump ramping up tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China just in case global tensions weren't already uncomfortable enough. These tariffs are designed to protect American industries, but in reality, they're mostly helping to inflate the prices of everything you already don't need. From cars to electronics to avocado toast, yes, that too, Americans are now seeing higher prices at the checkout. Meanwhile, China and Canada are retaliating with their own tariffs, creating a tariff showdown that's essentially a game of global chicken. The irony? Everyone is losing, but they still get cool tariff stickers to wear with pride. Who needs free trade when you can have a whole new set of rules? And of course, all this happens while American businesses frantically try to figure out how to pay for those extra costs without annoying customers. If you want to buy a toaster, though, now might be the time before the price doubles. Firefly Aerospace just did what no one thought was possible, landed a spacecraft on the moon. In what feels like a humble brag about NASA's lack of moon landings since the 60s, Firefly's Blue Ghost Mission 1 is now officially the most successful private company to make history by touching down on lunar soil. Forget SpaceX. Firefly's like, we'll land on the moon, you just worry about Mars. They've delivered scientific instruments and payloads to Maricresium, and while that might sound boring, it's actually a huge step forward for private companies who want to skip past Earth and go straight to lunar real estate. Now, NASA's got to step up their game if they want to be seen as more than just a government bureaucracy. Meanwhile, SpaceX is over there being like, well, we'll just launch something to Mars next week. It's a space race, and the private sector is officially ahead. Oh, it's wildfire season again, the Carolinas are burning, and it's not just because someone left the barbecue on too long. This time, it's serious, with thousands of acres scorched and entire neighborhoods evacuated. Governor Henry McMaster declared a state of emergency and deployed National Guard troops to help fight the flames, because clearly firefighters are not enough when fire can be this dramatic. The wildfires are a potent reminder that climate change doesn't take a day off, but we'll just keep ignoring it until we need another round of emergency funds. Myrtle Beach? Evacuated. Homes? Gone. But don't worry, locals are used to this now. Wildfires are part of the southern experience, like hurricanes but with more charred remains. Hopefully, next year will be fire-free, but we're not holding our breath. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the ride through today's most bizarre and hilarious headlines. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss the madness. See you next time for more wild news and and laughs.